In the Coral Sea, between Australia and New Caledonia, there was supposed to be an island. Not a legend, not a sailor's rumor, a mapped island. It appeared on Google Earth, it appeared on Google Maps, it appeared in world atlases and datasets. Its name was Sandy Island. And in 2012, a group of scientists sailed straight toward it. They were aboard the Australian research vessel Southern Surveyor on a 25-day geological expedition studying the eastern Coral Sea. Their job was not to solve a mystery. They were mapping deep ocean. But in the middle of that work, the maps disagreed. Some showed an island, some showed open ocean. Google showed land. The ship's navigation information showed deep water. That is a strange combination. Because if an island exists, the ocean floor has to rise up to meet it. Even a reef leaves a shape beneath the surface. But the ship's data suggested the opposite, not shallow water, deep water. So the researchers did the simplest thing. They went to look. Picture the scene. A research ship moves across the Coral Sea toward a coordinate the digital world says should be land. The crew expects a reef, breakers, a dark line on the horizon, anything. Instead, they sail into open water. No beach. No trees. No reef. No island. At the supposed location of Sandy Island, the seafloor was roughly 1,300 to 1,000 meters down. That is not an island hiding under the tide. That is deep ocean. The scientists had not discovered new land. They had undiscovered old land. And that is where the story gets stranger. Sandy Island was not a typo on one website. It had been copied into the world's geographic memory. For more than a century, versions of the island had appeared on South Pacific maps. Sometimes it was called Sandy Island. Sometimes it was labeled Île de Sable. It sat near New Caledonia, remote enough that ships rarely passed directly over it. That remoteness mattered. A map error near a busy harbor dies fast. Someone notices. A captain complains. A surveyor corrects it. The mistake has enemies. But a map error in a quiet patch of ocean can live a long life. Sandy Island may trace back to an 1876 report from a whaling ship called the Velocity, which recorded heavy breakers and sandy islets in the area. What the crew actually saw is uncertain. Maybe a reef, maybe floating pumice. Maybe they were off position. The important thing is not that one crew might have been wrong. The important thing is what happened next. The mark survived. The mark survived! It moved from chart to chart, from printed maps into digital databases, from one authoritative-looking system into another. Once a thing is inside enough systems, it starts to feel less like a claim and more like a fact. That is the real ghost story here. But not an island that vanished. A correction that failed to travel. French hydrographic authorities had already removed Sandy Island from official charts decades before the 2012 voyage. Other mapping communities had reasons to doubt it too. But the island still lingered in global data used by scientists, map makers, and software systems. So when the Southern Surveyor arrived and found nothing, it was not only correcting a map, it was exposing a chain of inheritance. Modern maps feel immediate. We pinch, zoom, search, and the world appears. But those screens are not pure windows onto reality. They are stacks of decisions, old measurements, vessel logs, satellite images, charting offices, databases. Every map is an argument about the world. Most of those arguments are incredibly good. Some are old, and some are wrong. Sandy Island became famous because the mistake was easy to understand, a label on a map, then a ship in empty water. But the deeper version is bigger than geography. We live inside copied reality. Search engines copy from sources. AI systems learn from text that copied older text. Apps pull from databases that pull from other databases. A spreadsheet becomes a dashboard. At each step, information gets a little more official looking. Not because anyone proved it. Because it survived the transfer. That is how Sandy Island became real enough to sail toward, and it is why the story still matters. The danger is not that maps have errors. The world is too large for any record to be perfect. The danger is when systems treat inherited data as evidence. When one database says a thing exists because another database said it existed. When a model repeats a claim because the claim appears often. When a confident interface hides uncertainty. Sandy Island was mostly harmless, an empty patch of sea with a stubborn label. But the pattern is not harmless. In other domains, copied errors can decide where money goes, who gets flagged, what gets built, what risks get ignored, and what people believe is true. Reality does not care how many maps agree with each other. Way! The ocean is still the ocean. And sometimes, the only way to find the truth is to sail to the coordinates and look down. In 2012, the Southern Surveyor did exactly that. It went to the place where Sandy Island was supposed to be. And found nothing. Not a lost island. Not a sunken paradise. Just deep water, and a reminder that a mistake can become durable if enough systems learn to trust it. Sandy Island did not disappear from the world. It disappeared from the record. Hey! And that is the part worth remembering. And